This is the Transition Podcast, Man to God, and I'm here with a special guest. I need y'all all to rally together because this is the first woman that we've interviewed on the Transition Podcast, and she's a special guest for me. She's a personal friend. She is a jack of all trades. She wears many crowns, and she truly is a queen. I'd like to introduce to you all film director, skincare specialist, and I would like to say relationship connoisseur, Miss Cole Patterson. I'd like to introduce everybody, give her a warm welcome. What's up, Cole? How are we doing today?
We are doing quite amazing. That's a word that a lot of people use to continually and overuse, but I will say I totally understand and overstand amazing what it's like to be amazing. And I would say that living life like it's golden for sure.
Living life like it's golden. I'm telling y'all right now, this is not going to be no boring paint drying conversation. Cole, as y'all see, that she got the smile. I'm telling y'all now, she gonna give us some electricity. We're gonna start at the core of who she is, her being, and kind of how she started her career in the skincare business. But before we get there, Cole, just give us a background of who you are, where you're from, where you're living now, how you got there. Give us a little background from.
I'll get the human form of who I am, and that is Cole Patterson. I'm a woman, a friend, a mother, a sister, and I guess you would say, granddaughter to to my grandparents. It's funny that you say that because I've been trying to strip away of the known, of being unknown. So to put it in perspective, where people are more relatable to it, I think I am a spiritual being
Yes.
and I am having a human experience. And with that label, my name is Cole Patterson. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
still going forward to trying to figure out, well, not trying to figure out, because I believe I figured it out, accepting my duty on this planet Earth. So I would say.
Man, and that's a perfect segue into where you're at, where you're currently mustering up all your ideas and stuff because universally and spiritually, if you don't understand the other side, you can't get the direction, you can't get the intuition, you can't get the instructions. So what kind of placed you in California?
I moved here so basically, I'm originally from the Midwest. I'm born and raised in Chicago, born and raised in, not born and raised, but raised in Milwaukee. Moved to Atlanta at a very young age, independently on my own. Lived in Miami as well, part time. And I'm in California, and just following inspiration, I think, and just um, it's been a journey, but it's been a very fearless journey. So I
Right.
would say, so
So
just really stepping on it.
what got you into the skincare business? Tell us about how that started when it comes down to, you developing a resume, a reputation, clientele, business, the whole nine. How did the inspiration of the skincare business happen?
I've always, I think, believed, like I always had a desire and I guess, a passion for health and wellness. And knowing that our skin is the one that covers us and protect us, skin so happened to be my segue into skincare, and just really honing in on what that meant, and just knowing that a lot of things start how we take care of our skin and aging and staying youthful and staying vibrant and staying full of life. And went to esthetician school many years, and I just loved it. I love getting facials. I love going to the spa. And to really understand that, I was just like, okay, I guess I'm supposed to do that. And it's funny because I remember working in the spa and being in the industry when I graduated, when I got my certificate for aesthetics. I worked in a dermatologist's office. I studied under dermatologists. I studied under plastic surgeons. This is before the Medi spas became familiar. I was trying to introduce and incorporate aesthetics works with plastic surgeons, but they felt like estheticians were um, tapping into dermatology. So it was a very like, no, no, no industry. So to see that it's here now is quite amazing. And also, I've always had, I remember making a business card when I was independently mobile. And this is before mobile things got available. I would go to salon, curate clients, and so forth. And it was my tag was, oh, I see the print and the font, but it was like specializing in male grooming and skincare needs.
Mm.
That's just what I remember. So back then, I kind of got away from it, went into the industry on the entertainment aspect and so forth. But that's always been one of the passions that I've always had, like when it came to skincare. So introducing now, several years later, doing a skincare line for men, it all was part of the plan.
Mm.
It was all a part of the plan. It took me a minute to get back on track, but when I think back, like just all the things I wrote down and what that looked like, it was always part of the plan, like
Mm.
always.
So talk about the off track part. Let's talk about that part because a lot of times during a transition, people don't like to speak about those bad times, those nightmares, that doubt, that literal giving up, and then having to call yourself back to the drawing board and saying, "Oh, I can't give up. I got to keep pushing." And I was personally there with you a few times where you just, didn't know whether it was, we can keep going with this, you know where to go, money short, but you still kept it going. And when you decided to keep going, I remember that it was like a decision. It was like we're gonna do it like this, and it happened right after you made that decision. Like it came to life, and I seen that testimony. Talk about those pitfalls of trying to figure it out when it doesn't go right.
So most of the off track came from other people's opinions and really thinking that I needed someone to help me through or to partner up with that. That's when I look at it and to remember and to go back and say, okay, so why, if this was always the purpose and the journey, why did it take me so long? And I go back and I look at it, I said, oh, I listened to this person.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that this was, I thought that they knew better for my life than I knew for myself.
Is
And
that is that because of experience? Is that because we often just kind of offset, giving people the benefit of the doubt, like they know more than us because they've been around the block? Why is that?
I think it's because we're human. We need that community. We need that confidant. We need some type of confirmation, some affirmation when we are in doubt because we're dealing with so much out in the world that we seem as problematic. And
Mm.
problems only are a psychological issue with our mind. So we create that. So with that being said, and two, you feel like people have certain experiences, they live longer, they've had and they've been through some stuff, but nobody has been through what you have gone through.
Exactly.
And that's the uniqueness of really getting involved in self therapy, I would
Mm.
say, and really um trusting, like trusting what is not known.
Mm.
Period. That's it.
So what was
Don't
that
go
feeling?
seeking for answers. Don't go look for answers. That feeling was like a disappointment, to be perfectly honest, because I've always known.
Mm.
And because I've always known, I went back doing the same thing in the career of skincare. So in the career of directing, in the career, everything that I wanted to transition to and experience out of curiosity or passion, whatever that was, I always go back to the human form of I need somebody to rally with me. I
Mm-hmm.
need somebody to really push me forward and believe in me. When really it's just stepping back and figuring out what love is, what self perseverance is, what that looks like when you truly, truly understand who you are.
Yep. That's what we talk about in identity. Episode 1 of the transition. Who are you? You can't get through no transition if you ain't got no identity. You got nothing to refer back to. You got nobody to ask. A lot of times in our transition, we got to go back and ask the old self, what did you do? What did you do so bad that got us to this point? And it's only that old self that can give you the answer how you got here. And so the reflection and the need to drop the ego is always imperative. But as we talk about the skincare lines, we talk about, the perseverance and being patient, sitting still. Let's talk about film. Let's talk about film. Now we're talking about imagination. Now we're talking about the mind. We're talking about creativity, and like I know, I'm in the film as well industry. Writing and so on and so forth. But the directing is different. Talk about how you got into film directing, why it became so gravitating to you. Why did it pull you in to want to try to do it specifically for the directing spot, not the producing, not the writing, but the actual directing?
The actual directing has been an inspiration since I was probably 12 or 13. I started off writing, journaling, stories, imagining, like really imagining. And some of the stuff I came with in my head or I wrote down on a piece of paper. I remember my mom trying to figure out what was going on with me. And she would, like, I would write stuff and then tear it up in little pieces and throw it away. And she would try to understand me and piece all that back together to try to figure out what was going on in my head. Or if I was transitioning or finding self, she would, and I would get home and like, what in the heck? But what I realized is that directing has always been my sole purpose in its totality because the way I relate, and anybody could say that, the way that I relate, I try to really the experiences that I lived and the people that I've encountered, I try to look at it as a whole in its entirety, as a universe, and really try to understand how do I communicate a way that socially moves us forward. The people that are in difficult situations, what can I do to be able to give them an idea or inspiration or affirmation or a conversation
Yeah.
to say, oh, wow, to trigger something that inspires them, and I feel like I can only through that do that through directing images and telling a story that is profound and that gives you something that taps you or connects with you emotionally.
Now that's fascinating, Cole. We got to talk about that for a second because your motivation is not ego. Your motivation is not fame or money. Your motivation in film is to help people connect. Now that's interesting because that's not usually anybody's really motive in any industry is to help, unless you're a philanthropist. And so, being a creative, being able to create imagery and imagination without the notion of exploitation is fascinating, especially when it's coming from the queen herself. Talk about that side, how therapeutic real content can be to the human experience, the life experience, the spiritual experience, the type of content that you want to create visually that can connect to individuals. Talk about that connection, of, you know, it being solely for the benefit of the person, making them better, giving them inspiration and motivation?
So, so there's a couple of things. So I feel like to in order to produce, create content that transitions towards helping or inspiring has to entertain in some kind of way.
Yep.
Because in the human form, we want to be entertained. We want to live, what is it? A suspension of disbelief. We want to take out of our reality and go into something else. But instead of being narcissistic or egotistical and say, it's all about me, it's all about me, the underlying, even though some of my stories are my personal stories, but it's a bigger picture. It's
Yep.
as a humanity, as a community, as a world, as a national global thing where everybody could benefit from it if they just open their eyes and really see it. You know, I will say, even with, I had to get rid of money and be self sacrificial in that aspect. And I would say that even with the skincare, the purpose of my skincare line was not to make money,
Mm.
you know, and it was not, it was to help.
Yep.
I saw a need and I wanted to fill the void, you know, and I was like, I got to do this. I got to do this. I remember at one time I was giving away products and
Yeah.
my sister was like, girl, you can't give away this. This is some good stuff. Like, how you going to, you got a livelihood to live and, you know, you have responsibilities. And I was like, oh, okay, you know, sure. Right.
Okay, yeah, I forget. Oh yeah, you're right. Hey,
Exactly.
I like that though because it lets the people out there know that if you're not aware, chasing your dreams can leave you in the clouds.
Yes, and you really, and I love money. I love luxury. I love experiences. I love having access to resources. I love all that as we do, and I feel like the world supplies us abundantly. But when it comes to an idea, and I began to look and research on brands, advertising psychology of how things are misled and misinterpreted for the greater good, for the capitalism of money. I wanted to not be that person. I wanted to speak really personally and authentically. Even to this day, another thing, getting off course, not just to backtrack a little bit, there's a lot of skincare lines coming up, a lot of, and people send me stuff. You need to be doing this. You need to do this. This person doing that. I was like, my thing is not transactional. It's for longevity.
Yep.
I will wait it out. I have to be able to really stand evidently behind everything that I'm presenting to the world. That's my integrity. And if that takes me longer to become a millionaire, guess what? I'll be a millionaire that much longer.
Yep.
It's just what it is. So in the film aspect of it was is the same thing. It has always been a burning desire to like really figure out like, if I'm gonna do this, what's the purpose? What's the purpose? Take away money. Money come and go.
Right.
What do you want to leave with? What is your legacy? What do you want your children to say? What do you want your friends to say? When people, I just posted, you know, I'm not really on Instagram or social media like that because if I'm on there, people will really, and I don't mind people seeing me, but they're not ready for these conversations.
Right.
They will get confused of who they think I am.
Exactly.
So I just stay reserved until the opportunity presents itself. I think on Instagram I put something like, when I transition to the spirit form, please share your experience and stories with my children. Don't post me on Instagram.
Wow.
My children are going to need that.
Yes.
They're going to need that. That's what I would rather for you to do. Check on my children and tell them, because my children only see me as mother.
Yep.
They don't see me as a human being. They just don't, even
Or
though
the
it's 100%,
goddess. Or the
or the
goddess.
goddess, or what, yeah, or the queen.
Or the
You know what I
queen.
mean? And I remember talking to my son, and he was like, "Well, I'm the king." I was like, "You're a prince. You're a prince. You will be a king soon, but you're a prince. But I'm the queen. You got to honor that."
Yep.
So just to get him to understand what that is, and just to really, because people pass. We know a couple of celebrities have passed recently, and I'm not afraid of death. I think death, the mourning of death, is selfishly to the living, is a selfish
Absolutely.
act of the living.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I transition, I'm no longer here.
Celebration.
You're mourning me because you didn't experience the whole entirety of me.
Exactly. Ooh, wait, jewelry. Let's pause right there. Y'all know what this. I'll be pushing my horn button right now. Wah, wah, wah. Okay, so what you just said speaks volumes. And if you could repeat it for me in the slightest for the people, because they need to understand that this is what it's about.
Okay.
That last part, just that last part.
Mourning is more for the living than the dead. It's very narcissistic and selfish to mourn me while I'm dead when you had the opportunity to experience me in the living.
Woo! Oh, man. Oh, man, that's giving me goosebumps. And I think that with this message, you have to understand, even when we talk about film and skincare and anything else, that our purpose for this particular podcast is to understand our spiritual journey, the transition between life and death, good and evil, light and dark. All of these things have a duality that has to be experienced. And when you transition into your transformation, and you see that things after the first step get better, but it also gets more painful because you're shaping yourself, you're changing. And then you go into a transcendence where you're a completely new person, and you've accumulated all these attributes that allow you to see that there's no reason to mourn. There's nothing but celebration here.
Celebration.
Nothing but celebration here. And if you're mourning me, like you said, you missed out on the best parts of me, and you're regretting that.
Yeah. You're regretting that. You're regretting having that inspired thought. Let me call and check on her.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go out to dinner with her. Let me see how she's doing.
Mm.
You're missing that opportunity to do any of those things because you were selfish in your living and your life experience, which is okay,
Yep.
which is absolutely okay. You know, but in that sense, you have to just really understand what it's like.
Yep.
You really have to understand that when you live, you have to live. So this is another thing. People believe, what how do I say this? People are so entitled that they believe they're immortal,
Mm-hmm.
and they exempt the now of mortality.
Ooh, wow.
So if that makes sense.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
that's what another thing is like, just really, it's really about knowing that we're born, we're gonna die
Right. And what you just spoke on is the expectations people have of their life, and that they have this expectancy that they're going to live forever.
forever.
And that they can go back and experience something that has already moved past them. That, oh, when I get 80, I can go back and do backflips like I was 12. Time has passed. It's gone, but you can't when you have that entitled spirit. You got that entitled mentality. That's where everything you do is like, yeah, I don't gotta do it now. That's where the procrastination kicks in. I don't
But
gotta do
again,
it
look
now.
at this. Look at this. So I have a different spin on that because time is an illusion.
Absolutely, doesn't exist.
And if you're looking for an outer experience to satisfy you inward, you are going to procrastinate
Yep.
and delay opportunity because you're looking for something to appear in your visual outward
Yep.
to make you feel that you're worthy, you're deserving of any of that. So that's going to kick in.
Mm.
However, who says we got to keep doing?
Mm.
Think
What happened to the just being patient and waiting?
just so people be like, well, I want to make a living. Are you not living?
No.
Are you not living? You're so people be in their heads trying to really um we look at other people's lives too much.
Yes.
We look at other people's lives too much and we try to measure what our life should be.
Yep.
And your life should be what you make it and what you think it should be. And if you think that it's not worthy and you think that it's hard, it's going to be exactly that.
Hmm.
The mind is very impressionable. And
When you can emulate another person's life and forget about yours because it's so painful, you would drop your life for someone else's in a heartbeat.
you will, because you rather deal with somebody else looking at their in their window, peeking through their window, but then your life, what makes your life so painful to look at?
Right. Why is no one
Your
looking
life,
in my windows?
because you don't love self.
And I don't even look. I'm not even in my own house for you to even look
Exactly.
inside of it.
Exactly. Because, and this is another thing, we all have childhood trauma in some way, form, or fashion, that's stuck in that super subconscious, and everything in our life acts out to match that.
Yeah.
And when you don't get in touch with that spiritual part of your being, then you're going to forever be fighting that battle.
Right.
And I just believe, like, even with directing, like, my story is no difficult than somebody else's story. Somebody probably lived a worse situation than I have. I never wore that as a hindrance of my progress or progressing through life. I wore that as a badge of honor to keep moving, to know that anything is possible.
Right.
So even having the shift in delay in doing film directing, I knew it was meant to be because the passion never went away.
Mm-hmm.
It never went away. Like, that's the thing, is like, sometimes when it goes away, it's just passing through.
Yep.
It's just the thought that passes through. Maybe it got inspired by somebody else and this, that, and the other. The aspect of skincare never went away.
Mm-hmm.
I speak skincare. The aspect of nature, being involved outside, growing fruit, eating microgreens, juicing, that never went away. It's not, I don't do trends. I don't do fads. Like, people now, kale is trendy. Now spinach is trendy. Now
Right.
celery diet. Alkaline water is trendy. I've been doing alkaline water before anybody knew what that was.
Man, for a
I used
long
to
time.
recommend all my clients doing skincare. When
Mm-hmm.
they were like, I hate water, I'm like, this is what you do. I got this place down in the valley. Get you some alkaline water, put it in the refrigerator or the freezer, make sure get a nice cold, and this will get you to, like, it's always been my walk,
Yeah.
you know, and with and just my love for men.
Man. Well, that's a perfect segue, Cole. That's a perfect setup for the relationship conversation. Men and women. Cole Patterson has been married and divorced, and she knows the ins and outs of what it takes to be in a relationship. And as a very strong pro black woman, cares about her culture, her people, especially her sisters. She also has a deep rooted connection with her brothers. She definitely has the nurturing mother side for all the men out there. She has a very positive outlook on our perspective and how we interact with women. And that's what kind of the discussion is going to go to now, is talking about men and women in 2021. why there is such a disconnect. We're not gonna put a color on it. Let's put it like we're gonna go, not gonna put a color on it, but let's just say men and women. Why is there a disconnect today when it comes to relationship? Why can't it coexist? Why is it diminishing? What's the problem out there right now, Carl? What are we dealing with?
So
I'm
I'm
blaming the
put
women.
color on it. I'm gonna put a color on it because I only can speak from my perspective and my cultural
There you
experience.
go. Well, let's put a color on it then.
However, I do see the other aspect of being colorless.
Right.
I totally get that.
Right.
And I
So we're
will
gonna
go.
speak. So we're speaking on the black community. We're speaking on the urban community. We're speaking on brothers and sisters in relationships and how we can circumvent to a more positive outlook.
So a lot of women are going to get mad at me because of this statement. And you mentioned something early on about feminists. Um, I'm not a feminist. I believe that screwed up Black women.
What
That's
is
my
a
opinion.
feminist though? First of all, I don't think women know what feminist is. I think they just throw the word out there, sound good like a chicken sandwich, and they like, let me eat that.
Because it was a political term, what it is, what it meant, and to put definition and terminology behind a word,
Right.
that really didn't need to be explained. But it was a political movement, and that's why it has the feminist movement. However, on a political aspect, I never thought or think to this day that the feminist movement was for Black women.
Mm.
And that's why a lot of Black women don't really understand what that is.
Right.
We're living in a culture that's been structured and created by a white man.
Mm-hmm.
And I will put the baton in the man's hand too. You guys are always trying to prove your strength, your your presence, your existence,
Mm-hmm.
trying to assimilate to the white culture that has never been structured for you.
Right.
You know, um, when it comes to relationships, I believe that structure falls into a lot of people's relationships. I believe when Black men date other than Black women, they feel like that they're safe with that structure
Mm-hmm.
and will be looked upon and exist in that community that they've been trying to assimilate to. However, I believe you and I talked about this recently that when the niggas show up in that Black man, white women
Yeah.
can feel
Yeah.
threatened.
Yeah. We here. We here. Wake up, everybody.
Oh, and that comes from I can't control him because we
Mm-hmm.
know white women control their white men
Yes. Talk
in
about it.
every aspect of it.
Talk. Speak up. I can't hear
In
you.
turn,
You gonna have to speak up. I
in
got.
turn.
Yes. I got to hear this. Yeah. Let's hear this. Yeah. You gonna have to
So
talk.
in
Hold on. Hold on. The internet is unstable for a second. Okay. I think we good. Go ahead. You see how it's unstable now that you
so
cracking the levels now. They're trying to break our connection. Come on now.
so and like I said, I just do a lot of observation with an open mind. And I just try to really be relatable to a world in my present existence and how I maneuver through that. That's just all I try to do. And in my observation, I see certain things and I develop a perception of what that looks like unbiasedly.
Right.
You know, I gather data and I just assess it. And I was like, okay, so, and no fault of the Black man for wanting to date outside of his race. There's a lost sense of being an existence in that. You want to disappear into a community or a race that has overlooked you, and you want
Mm.
to be involved in that. And you believe sometimes being with that type of woman that gives you that passport to do such. In so many instances, it does,
Well,
especially when you're an athlete
let
or
me
a
give you
community of
context.
wealth.
Let me give you context. I've also done. my research with men and asking different married men of color who are married to women of opposite races, different, races and so on and so forth. And I asked them, I'm very curious about it. Like, so why did you choose the Asian woman? Why did you choose the Latin woman, the Russian woman? Why not the black woman?
Before you answer that,
Yeah, I can answer that.
no, before you answer that,
Go ahead.
I give you my perspective.
Yes.
As a black woman, we have been taught to emasculate our black men.
And hey,
Rather
explain what that means.
take their balls away,
Mm,
not make
mm,
them a man.
chop them off or just take them.
Take them, chop them off, put them in a jar, whatever it is.
Ooh. Talk
To
about what that's like. Talk about what that's like for the woman when she does that.
that, I don't know what that's like. I really can't understand. I understand that that's what some women of color do, black women, because it goes back down to the disrespect
Yes.
and the honor. And men were either by choice or by force ejected from the house.
Yep.
That's what I will say. And through generations of women saying, because they've had a heartbreak, a heartache, or a heartfelt moment,
Mm-hmm.
decided that they didn't need man. So black men felt displaced in that aspect because black women, when they became, like I said, we're going to go back to the feminist movement.
Mm-hmm.
The feminist movement was for white women to go out and make money, not
Real
black
talk.
women.
Real talk. To
Black
equal the playing field in the business and family.
because the white woman realized that they had no control
Mm-hmm.
and the man made all the rules. So in that sense, because she's a damsel in distress, she started whining and crying because she had to be at service to him. He could go out and do whatever he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we talked about what love and marriage and downing and all of that stuff was at one point. So, and this is just as elementary as possible. So, black women jumped on it and wanted the same right. However, when we jumped on it, we have to remember that our black men were forced to war or were
Mm.
murdered and killed,
Mm-hmm.
and their strength and power was taken away. So we tried to replace the black man that had been disenfranchised, that has been beat down, that didn't know where his place was in the household or in society, the community, or the world. So instead of us being whole within ourselves, we became upset,
Mm.
resentful, envious of that, you know. And guess what the white men did to get back at the white women? They rather hired the black woman than the white woman
Mm.
to work
Which
under.
which pushes feminism to be even more extreme because they're not winning from the moment you started the movement for your purpose and then it segued for someone else's purpose and now they're winning and you're losing.
So women, black and white, even to this day, compete with each other instead of uniting as women.
Mm-hmm.
The black women look at, oh, he with a white girl, and the white girl try to be a Kardashian with the ass and whatever, you know. But they've made us and called us names to make us hate what made us unique. But now since they have it, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. I can
And
see
it's
that.
brainwashed black men to believe that's what beauty looks like.
Yeah.
What beauty looks like is nature, is natural.
Absolutely.
The
Natural.
one that don't burn and shrivel up when the sun is on them. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry.
So let's talk about
The
this.
one that ages gracefully.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about the safe place. You spoke about the safe place for the black man. Is it safe to say that the reason that white women give black men a safe place, the safe feeling, the place where they can regenerate, recover, breathe, is it safe to say that the reason there is more biracial, interracial relationships is because that safe place opens up because of the aggressive behavior of what you just spoke of that changing of the guard in the feminist movement, and how it was supposed to be for this side, it ended up being for this side, but who lost was the black woman lost the black man to the white woman because she pushed him away from his alpha, and the white woman allowed him in with his alpha and allow him to express his alpha with them because they are used to it. And the only thing that the black man can't give the white woman is the romance because we're not used to it. And it's an American European concept that we have never been taught completely to even give back to our own culture. So we have black women now have adopted the white women's doctrination of relationship and marriage, and it doesn't fit the DNA structure. It doesn't fit the culture, and it's a clash of all kinds of personalities due to the fact that there's a comfort place that's not being provided in the culture, and you have to go outside of the culture to be comfortable. What do you think about these things?
Okay, if I understand this right, one thing I will say, we don't have a culture. Black Americans don't have a culture. That's just really, so for us to even relate to a culture, we don't know what that culture is.
Exactly.
So if we're talking about in Africa, they're able to have many wives and they're respected upon that and they are appreciated for their alpha. We don't know what that is
Right.
because we don't have a culture.
Is that a part of our lost history along the way?
That is definitely a part of our lost history and our lost sense of being.
And ultimately, the reason our disconnect is because we've lost the connection of that deep rooted history that made us tribes, that made us strong and powerful beyond measures, because we put kings in the throne and we put queens around the throne, and there was never a hierarchy amongst that throne. The king wasn't the end all be all. The king only existed because the queens put him in the throne.
So we are as mentally screwed up because we didn't want the throne. We didn't want to go back and be kings and queens. We
Right.
wanted to assimilate to the American dream and the Christianity that was pushed upon us by
Mm.
the white man. So we didn't want that for whatever reason. 400 years of restructuring, rewiring the mind to lessen our worth.
Wow.
And we continue to do that with ourselves, even amongst dark skin, brown skin, light skin. We've continued to do that always, even to the point where, I don't know, this was a saying where they would be like, we will basically dumb ourselves down because we wanted to be seen by the white man.
Yes.
Wanted to be
Yes.
seen. Don't take him, he's stupid, take me.
Yes.
Like, so that competitive nature of that and separation amongst ourselves have continued to evolve and be misled in every aspect when it comes to the relationship of a woman and a black man. I believe that we're both searching for something outside of each other
Mm.
that we know neither one of us have the strength to with uphold that.
So, what kind of advice would you give a woman when dealing with? Because you can't give one sided advice when you're talking about, oh, I'm gonna give this woman some advice on men. What type of men are you gonna give them advice on? There's a lot of different type of men that you can give advice on. Beta males, alpha males. You got your down low guys. You got your bisexual guys. You got your non-aggressive guys. You got your aggressive guys. Got your hood. Got your hood guys, hood niggas. You got your squares, your nerds. What advice would you give to the black females out there that are looking? Because there's a lot of topic conversation going on the internet about high value men, and black women really being one track mind, single focused on a guy that got a bunch of money that can do for her, boo boo boo. What's the advice dealing with this new culture of, old school, new school? You got courting, you got the whole millennial. There's it's all stems from the same thing we just talked about, which is the European white frame of relationship and family and marriage. What advice would you give the females now, like as far as how to deal with the black man? Not necessarily a specific type, but just the black man that is a good man, solid, like a solid man, ambitious, wants to do right, don't got the opportunities, don't got this and the other. But the women are not even looking at him because he don't got the money, he don't got the resources, but he's a good, solid man. What's your advice for dealing with this type of climate in the culture?
So if you don't know who you are, you don't know what you're looking for.
Mm.
That's first and foremost. As women, they want that outward experience for something to feel good, and they want to be able to appear a certain way. So they look for monetary um, influences, they look for luxuries and outside. And if a man has the money and the means to do that, they feel like that's going to make them happy. But when that man maintains a man
Yeah.
and go out there and have many of those that he entertains, then there's a problem. So the problem is that the woman doesn't want that part of a man. She wants a gay friend
Yes, talk about it. I'm glad.
that
Ooh,
she
wait.
I'm sorry, and
Come
I'm just
on, Cole.
so she can manipulate and control his emotions.
And what is that when you say a gay man? Let's just break it down into context on what that is.
I would
Behavior.
say gay as in happy. Let's just say that.
Okay, well explain the happy side when you talk about that side. Like, is that safer for her?
It's more, I don't know. I don't know if it's safer for her. She has to determine what's safe for her, but how do you determine what's safe for you when you really haven't looked at self? You're
Hmm.
looking outside to try to self satisfy yourself. You're pacifying yourself with things that you think or you believe that's going to make you happy and fulfill you as a woman. Now, you have to go through life and experiences of acceptance and knowing what your participation is in a relationship to know what your purpose is and how you can co-create or coexist in the male and the female energy. Now, so many women are conflicted because they think they're alpha men, they think they're alpha female, which I
Hmm.
don't believe a woman can be alpha anything. That's just my belief, my perception, my opinion. So for those women that think they're alpha male, you go right ahead.
Right.
But you can't be an alpha woman and want an alpha man. You
Nah, it
got to
doesn't work.
know what a beta man.
Hmm.
So you're conflicted of what that really looks like. You making money and having a career does not say that you're alpha. Now they have related money with power. So the woman tries to overpower the man in that aspect of her success, her knowledge, whatever that is. So there's a energy, there's a low vibration of energy there. So what the alpha male does, and I did say alpha male because black men and men that lead or have a sense of being of masculinity are considered alpha. They're not going to hang out with their girl 24 hours a day and be up under her. That's not what an alpha male does. That's what a gay friend does.
Mm.
So I'm just saying. So when you speak of relationships, you have to know how to relate to self.
Mm.
If you can't relate to self, everything goes back to you. Like Michael Jackson said, the man in the mirror,
Yeah.
the woman in the mirror,
You look at the word relationship though. What you just broke it down.
relating to another human being. And just because our parents did it and it worked for them, things are constantly shifting and evolving. You have to be open minded enough to really loosen up the playing field to see what that looks like. But you have to determine in a woman what are your intentions in a man's life? Are you going to nag him because you're
Mm.
not getting everything that you want or you feel like you deserve? Have you presented that you're worthy of deserving? What does that look like? And as a man, you can't think a woman just supposed to respect you or trust your leading when she doesn't see you leading your own life.
Let me ask you a question, Cole. This is a specific question to the females. You have been a wife. What does it mean when a woman wants to be a wife and wants a husband? What does that mean in context to what a woman has to be? She wants to be a wife because it's nice, it looks good on TV. All the episodes you watch, the wife gets all the good stuff, the ring, the cake, the wedding. She gets the the treatment. She gets all the answers that she ever asks. But are women today wives? With the behavior that they exude, the things they do, you got social media posts, you got OnlyFans, but then you want to be a wife.
I would say until you know what kind of woman you are and learn how to be a woman, how can you be a wife? Because a hoe knows she a hoe.
They know it.
But a hoe that gets paid and she's a sex worker, she knows that's what she's good for.
What?
That's just what it is. So you can think that, first of all, the titles of a wife, a husband, and a wife, it's a contract, it's a partnership.
One doesn't exist without the other.
What's the exchange? Like, what does that look like? Are we on the same page? But people don't discuss where their expectations are or their intentions up front. They just think because they're pretty,
Mm.
they have good sex, that I could be a wifey. Are you a wifey when this man is going through, or are you a husband when she wants that protection, or what that is? Are you willing to lay it down to protect your wife?
Man.
Do you love her that much to sacrifice yourself in your life to protect her?
And see, Cole, this is what's so beautiful about you and your conversation is that these are things that need to be said. These are things that's not being talked about because as a husband, there are responsibilities that you must attend to.
Yeah.
And these responsibilities don't just come and go. They're there 100% of the time. And you can't go to sleep without
Very
completing these
possible.
responsibilities.
Very
The
possible.
same thing with the wife. You can't look on TV and say I'm supposed to act like this. That's a TV. That's what the TV say a wife is. If I'm the husband, you supposed to be the wife I want, not be the wife you want to be. Because the husband finds the wife.
When he finds a good thing. But most men don't know what that wife is.
Don't even know
Most
what it look
men
like.
don't know what that looks like. And I will say, when you think of relationships or you look at what that's relatable to be, um, a wife is an idea, it's a title.
Ooh, yes, she hit it. Oh, yes. Talk
It's
about it.
a title. So under a title comes duties and responsibilities. So duties and responsibilities comes commitment, dedication, and consistency.
Mm.
So when you look at relationships and it's told, I just feel like today everybody's lost when it comes to relationships.
Is it social
Everybody
media?
wants the idea. I think it's just selfishness. I believe that it lacks love. Nobody leads with love. Everybody leads with intentions on gaining
Mm.
versus building. I believe that there's a definitely a disconnect in the way men relate to women and the way women relate to women relate to men. Like there's a situation where if you don't know what kind of man you are or who you are, a strong woman won't blossom. She's as delicate as a rose.
Mm-hmm.
But if she doesn't feel that sense of comfort and protection, she's going to stay closed. It takes that sense of responsibility and commitment where she opens up and blossoms and becomes the wife that you want her to be.
Mm.
If it's in her, if it's just in her for the entertainment and the partying,
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's funny that you say that. I believe that you want to be a wife, let's just go get married at the Justice of Peace. If it lasts over 5 years, we'll have a wedding.
Yeah. We'll see.
With that, we'll see.
Yeah.
But
Is that like a challenge to earn the big day? Is that like should that be a challenge to the woman to see if she can make it?
I think it's a challenge for both. I believe men get caught up on the idea of what a wife is, and it's possession. Being a
Yes.
wife and being married is a sense of possession. It's
It's
no different
slavery.
from
It's
slavery.
slavery.
Exactly.
It's a relationship slavery, and it goes documented.
Yeah, it
Um,
goes documented. So guess what? If you don't do one day, if you don't do what I asked you to do, or you don't make me feel like I thought you was gonna make me feel, I'm gonna take all your money.
yeah, but it worked both ways
Make you
because
start all over from what you built or what you thought you had because you have to pay me to
yep,
get out of this contract.
yep.
It's a corporation. It's a
But
business.
what's happening? What you say about the feminist movement? What's happened? That is the most positive thing out of all of it that could have happened is women are now liberated to escape the man's plantation. The
What do you
man the man has had the woman a slave since the beginning of the Neanderthal. Come here. Boop. Come here. You with me now. Right? You don't got no say so. 2021, you can't go boop and come over here. Nah, she's like,
with
uh-uh.
a boot and
She
drag
gonna hit, yes, she gonna hit you. You know what I'm saying? She's like, no, you hit her. She's got a helmet on. She's like, that didn't hurt. Boom, I'm gonna hit you back. You know what I'm saying? So it's a liberation that's happened with the woman that's been much needed because it liberates us. Where I like to have that conversation about the old school, new school that needs to be meshed and merged together to create some kind of new old school where we're not talking about the old past and not, we're talking about the things that can happen now because all of these past ideologies have been forgotten and dropped, and the new things that's happening in relationships is trying to figure out how can we help the women be more confident, be less in their mind, in their thoughts, and being jealous and fat shaming and comparing themselves. They have to liberate themselves from the man first because that's where they feel they're most held back. Most conversations with women is, men, they do it and y'all do it and
that's no. That's not taking accountability of self.
that too.
So not to cut you off,
No, you
but
good. Yeah, we good. We good.
to say so there's a couple of things that went on in my head where I would say that separate but equal.
Hmm.
That's a thing that's supposed to be. I don't want to be equal to a man. I just
Have we
don't.
had that before? Separate but equal.
No.
So
But
that's what we're talking about. The new normal would be separate but equal.
equal, exactly. That works for white and black people,
I
not
think so.
man and woman. Okay.
Has it
Um,
worked for white and black people?
no, because we did integration. We didn't do separate but
We
equal.
did never do it.
Never did it. We did
We
integration.
felt the concept, but we never acted on the actual reality of it.
We wanted to integrate. We
Yeah.
didn't want separate but equal as a black, white.
Was it
As
because we didn't think we can hold it up by ourselves?
No, I think that, when the civil rights movement and Martin Luther King wanted to fight, he thought that was the way to make people non-prejudiced.
Yeah, the
And
social.
it gave us less power as a race. And that's why we are constantly trying to integrate into relationships of interracial relationships
Yep.
and thinking that we are supposed to be treated equal. So it just all sums up to um, women cannot be separate and equal to a man. And I believe making the money, women believe that's the new normal.
Yep.
Um, I'm not built like a man. I don't think like a man. My men are more logical, women are more emotional. So how can we be separate by equal? Even women have replaced their sense of need with sex to think that's going, well, I'm gonna do what he do. No, you can't. You can't be entered that many times
Mm.
and not have.
Mm-mm. They don't understand that part, do they?
You can if you want to, but
You're not
it,
supposed to.
it's
You're,
not wearing
it's
on
not
your.
natural.
You start looking old in your face
Right.
and your body is torn. So I would say, you know, I I'm trying to be like not too harsh or direct. I'm trying to really be to communicate in a way where um people really hear me
Hmm.
versus waiting to be like, no, no, no.
Yeah,
So
yeah, waiting to lash out and
yeah,
give their
waiting
point
to
of view.
lash out. So I say this to the women. Um, I'm really for uplifting and really supporting women, and I'm really for honoring and celebrating men. With that being said, it puts me in a very good position to speak on what we're speaking on today because a lot of women will say, like, Cole, men love you. That's because I lead with love. And I think through this whole conversation, we never once talked about love.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what the question is or what the solution or resolution of, the answer is always love.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's what we've gotten away from. And when you lead with love, it takes care of itself. You're heard, you know, and you're supported and you're protected, whether you think, and it's opened up to be vulnerable. But at the same time, I believe Black men have not figured out how to receive love.
Let me
When
let
you're
me
your most vulnerable, you're your most powerful. And it's always been a battle with not being weak or not feeling like you're emotional. Men have always, from day birth, don't cry, stop crying. It's the men don't cry, men don't cry. Why not? Why not? You suppress crying. Crying is a part of cleansing. It's a part of transitioning. So when you suppress that, guess what? It builds up. It builds up. You get sinus problems. You get allergies. You get all types of stuff that goes on. So the body is amazing to act the way that it does. So I
let
just
me
believe.
speak. Let me speak on the man's side on that side right there. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Shout out to Kanye West. Um, there are levels to ignoring emotions, and there's a lot of times that people, often tell boys and guys that it's okay to cry, blah blah blah. And there's two ways to look at it: alpha, beta, warrior, watcher. The warrior, yeah, he might have allergies, he might get a cold, I mean, he might have lupus, he might have cancer, but you would never know it. You would never know it. You ain't never knowing it. I'm a warrior. We can't show none of that. If we don't show up to the tribe with the lion on our back, we on the stake. They put us on the stake. They put us in the middle of the fire. They cook us. We got to be the man. There's the man, then there's the man's man. There's the man that all the men look up to and they say, "Yeah! Hoorah! Hoorah!" Right? That's the man's man up there, right? We don't have men's men anymore, right? And that comes from appreciation. Appreciation gives confidence. When I appreciate you, you show me a gift that man, you are the man's man. Every day I got to give you a gift. I bear gifts to you. I appreciate everything you haven't even done yet. Because I know as a man's man, you got so much to do. You got so much ground to cover. You got so much to protect. Where is the appreciation? There's no more MCM. There's no more Man Crush Mondays. There, we barely get a Father's Day, right? Valentine's Day, well, you don't get nothing unless you give something. Birthdays, so you get a couple text messages. You don't get shit because it's Wednesday, right? But you're expected to perform like a man when a woman wants you to. You got it. It's a hard act to follow, but it's one that we must follow. So you got the betas that will line up and be emotional, and they will cry. They will show, I got allergies today. I can't go into work. I can't. Hey, I'm sick, man. I might have a COVID, man. Man, bring your ass in here. You gotta get to work, COVID or not, bro. You know what I'm saying? But we gotta get back to the bravado of the man, the masculinity of the man. You used to be Incredible Hulk and Thor and macho. Ain't no macho no more. And now what we were running into is the woman becoming the man, and now she's making the money. She's the breadwinner. So why don't we just flip the roles for a good 2-3 years and allow all these women who making this money claim they independent, take care of the man like we've been taking care of y'all. Let's see how that feel. Cause for me, I feel weird. Someone taking care of me, paying things that it does not feel good at all. But not yet, not necessarily. But yet, when a man is a man's man, even if his chips are down and he needs to recover, he needs that time to reflect and recoup to go to be his man's man at the level he needs to be. That time that he's spending recovering, he can't be belittled by the people around him. His woman can't belittle him because he's recovering. Because once he gets back and that woman's still with him, he gonna chop her head off. Cause she never appreciated what he was going through. And so that's what we're dealing with now with the man's man is not having any appreciation because we're seeing this propaganda be pushed, whether it be beta, homosexuality, or transgender, is being pushed against the man.
For the man's man, they have attempted to diminish you guys by saying hyper masculinity as if it's a disease. Um, and that's where most men are trying to straddle the field on that because they don't want to come off as intimidating. So they're losing their sense of what that looks like. And I believe the media does a very good job with putting that propaganda in front of you guys and saying you have to act this way
Yep.
and you can't act like this because if you do, you're not respecting the feminist movement or you're
Mm.
not respecting women. So you guys are the man's man have never been in a situation like I always tell people, I don't want to be respected by a man. I want to be cherished.
Mm.
So I don't look for respect. I look for you to cherish me. And I think because women are demanding to be respected, they are putting themselves in a masculine energy.
Woo.
And because that's not what it is. A black man will say, woman, you don't respect me because that's where your honor lays. And you have to listen to those words. And I believe, as somebody that has been around men, my stepdad is a man's man. I only know what that looks like. I have, I've
Before
always
you even, sorry to interrupt. Before you can go, what does it look like when you respect a man though? Like, how does he? What kind of energy he gives you when you respect him?
what kind of energy does he give me when I respect
Like
him?
when you say when you can respect a man, it's everything. Like, what happens when you do that? Like, tell the
He becomes
audience when you
vulnerable.
respect a man, what a man will give you in return.
Transparency and vulnerability, because it's a safe place where he won't be judged and he won't be resented and he won't be diminished in that, and he
Mm,
will always be looked upon as a true man. I believe that's what it is. And I believe that, I mean, you could speak for this, that I've been pretty consistent with what that looks like, you
absolutely.
know, um, whether it's a friend or I'm in a relationship, a love affair, whatever that looks like. And I've had my female friends to say, well, he don't deserve this and da 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 da. And I'm like, I can't do nothing but love. I can't do nothing but offer love.
Right,
So
right.
rather, I don't really have an expectation. I have a requirement
Mm,
of what I want. But far as expecting something in return, then I'm no better than the other person that think love is an action. It's an
mm.
energy. And I'm treating love as if it's a commodity, an order, and not an exchange of energy. And that's what love is to me. So what it looks like when you respect a man, he treats you like a queen.
Woo! Would that look like a simple answer that came out your mouth right there? You see how simple you was about to go detail. You said, no, this is just as simple as that.
It's simple as that, whether you're black, white, brown, purple, green, whatever it is. But I believe we put so much emphasis on trying to fulfill everybody else's obligation of what they think that relationship's supposed to look like,
Yep.
and involving other people in your relationship. I have a friend, a really good friend, that that I just reconnected with. And I used to live with him at some point. And he's a dude, like dude. Like, and it was funny because he's going through a situation, and he sent me a picture that could have been an intimidating, not a nasty picture or anything. It's a picture with him in uniform,
Mm-hmm.
right? He's an ex-athlete. And all I could do was go, ow, okay. And he said, I got two words, alpha male.
Right.
Like that. But no, before he sent the picture, he said alpha male. And I was like, huh? And I kept going, what? Because I couldn't barely hear him. He's like, alpha. He said, never mind, I'm gonna show you an image so you would understand. And then when he sent the image, I was like, oh, okay, I see. And he's like, damn right. A real woman only sees that. I get
Mm-hmm.
you fucking get it, Cole. You fucking get it. And I was like, what other response was I supposed to
That
get?
was a test, though. See,
And yes.
we often send these tests, psychological tests, just to see where we stand with women. Like, let me send this. Let
And
me see what kind of reaction I'm gonna get from this.
he said, if you would have said anything, then he said, I expected you to say that response. He said, but if you had said anything other than that, like, oh my God, what's this? Why would you send this?
Right.
Like, you was a whack ass, like, da 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 da. He was like, but the fact, he was like, I fucks with you, like, for real, for real. And I was just like, I don't know what other response
That's
that
appreciation. Cole,
would have
you gave
been.
him appreciation that he could not turn down. That's what I'm saying. So, like, if we are men, like for me, for example, if I'm in the gym every day and I've reshaped my body, right? And ain't no females giving me no compliment, ain't nobody looking at me with the, oh, yeah. I don't know, I don't feel appreciated. But I'm a man's man, but I don't feel shit at all. But I'll notice it. I notice y'all not looking at me like y'all looking at them. I'm walking around here knowing I'm looking good. You're not telling me I'm looking good. You might tell me once a week, once a month. You're not telling me every day, right? But that's the appreciation. It's not a compliment. It's not something that we need every day. It's just that appreciation that, hey, listen, if a bitch come near you, I'ma cut her. If a bitch come near you, Rashad, I'm gonna cut her. That's appreciation. That's appreciation to
That's
me.
insecurity.
It's
That's
listen, for me, it's appreciation because she knows what I am, and she knows that my ability to get women is just as good as women's ability to get me. So if she can say, look, Shad, look, I love you so much, you know what? I better not see you talking to nobody. Now, yeah, Cole, you can say that's
That's
insecurity.
toxic.
You can
It's
say that,
toxic.
but
Because
it's
as an
also
alpha man,
territorial.
you gonna know as a woman, I'm standing in a woman's shoes.
Got
As
you.
a woman that has self-love, she's gonna honor all of that and just and let him be the alpha. Let him, let
So
other women oh
yeah, yeah. So you're saying
yeah,
the confidence
so
that
the
the woman has
confidence.
to have in those
I'm
moments.
never going to say, if I'm with an alpha man, I'm never going to say, what that bitch looking at? I'm be like, baby, you fine. She should want you.
Right,
Absolutely. I'm going to touch you a way that she can't touch you.
right,
That's how I show you appreciation. I might rub your head the way that she could possibly never do. I might touch a spot on your chest that she don't know what that spot is.
right.
I'm constantly appreciating you to see what your triggers of appreciation is. For
Ooh, you just wrote a book. Triggers of appreciation.
I'm just saying. So all of that other stuff, that and this is another thing I want to speak.
You gonna make me write that down?
Men, y'all alpha men have been conflicted with what it's like to fight. You guys are so used to suffering and to prove and to fight. You don't know what it's like when love is natural and fluid and flexible. That's the thing. So when a woman says she's envious of another woman because she looking at you, that's possession, that's ownership, that's insecurity.
You're right.
That does not reflect appreciation.
You're
It
right.
reflects control. It reflects you look at her if you want to. I'm gonna nag you, I'm gonna be mad, I'm gonna walk around with an attitude. You ain't gonna know why
You're right.
because she looked at that's whack.
Yeah.
It's conflicting.
You're
Gotta
absolutely
stand
right.
in and really clear. That's why I'm like, I get where you coming from it, but that's what you've been taught and structured to think that's a sense of appreciation because most women align with that. And that's they align with insecurities and looking outward for self gratification.
So teaching point for the men out there. I was confusing that insecurity with the man's acceptance of submission.
When a queen says her king,
When a woman can say when a woman can say, you know, if you talking to that girl, I'll cut you. For a man's man, that's almost equivalent to like a ghetto dating a ghetto chick that's always got an attitude and you like that. Like she's always want to argue. She always got something smart to say.
toxic.
It's toxic, right? And parts of us as the man's man likes it, not necessarily needs it, but you hit it on the head. It
You
is
like it
not the
because
same. It is
she's
not the
showing
same.
because she's showing emotion, but the
Yeah.
emotion she's showing is conflicting with insecurities, not love.
Not appreciation at all. It's
And not
definitely not
love.
appreciation.
That's love conditional.
Yes.
It's not unconditional.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. So it may turn on a man because I've gotten sassy and you know, ooh, because
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
feel like, oh, she care, I got her now. No, no. I'm just being firm in my requirements of what as a woman because you're used to dealing with girls
Yep.
dressing up like women.
Yep. And that's the biggest confusion for all men
That's the
out
biggest
there
confusion.
is the
So
woman
with
dressing up like the girls dressing up like women.
playing makeup.
Yep.
And that's the thing, it's like, so you really have to, even with with me, I with men, you know what I mean? Like what appears to be an alpha male, but really he a beta,
Yep.
he's narcissistic.
Yep.
He want to be respected and cherished.
Hmm.
But he appeared taking this until things got
Right. Right.
continued. Then I see the beta. Oh, you Peter Pan.
You
Oh,
Peter Pan.
I got it.
Sheesh.
So that ain't no. But because women show up, and this is another thing I think you and I talked about this, is that men are so used to women manipulating them they don't know what it's like when a woman has her emotions under control.
You're right.
They don't know what that they
And it
mistake.
takes us. It's like hitting us off guard. Like it's like a complete surprise. Like I didn't know you was even capable of getting to that level.
It takes y'all off guard because y'all used to emotional roller coasters. And just because I feel some kind of way or feel indifferent about something, don't mean that I'm always gonna have a flight of emotion. That's confusing because what you will do is relate that to the reinforcement of this is how she acts when she always does that.
Right.
And you're not going to hear what that shift needs to be.
Very
You know,
accurate.
you know what I'm saying? So it's like one of those things, it's like, and I dealt with, all types of industry dudes or athletes or executives or whatever. Like I see there's a consistency pattern of what is perceived versus what is believed.
Right.
And it really comes to a point of self reflection.
Yep. Well, look, I'll tell you what, Cole. We're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna wrap it up right there because they gotta digest this. You know what I'm saying? It takes some time to digest and unpack this type of shit we talking about right now. And the Transition Podcast is an open platform for us all to explore the philosophies and perspectives of each other's stories and testimonials. And today, Miss Cole Patterson pretty much blew the roof and the lid off of Pandora's box of the whole relationship, quorum that we all deal with. That's hot topic. Hot topic. You know what I'm saying? Kevin Samuels ain't got nothing on us. You know what I'm saying? We gonna unpack it for real. We're not just gonna target one side of the coin, but for the rest of the audience out there, the transition is all about perspective. It's all about how can we share our stories and reach a perspective of growth and commonality where we can learn from each other's stories by embracing and absorbing these perspectives and using them in real life. And Cole Patterson today allowed us to see what it's like in the life of a entrepreneur in the skincare industry, what it's like being a female director in the film industry, and what it's like to be a relationship connoisseur in today's climate where we're dealing with relationship between races, creeds, cultures, and trying to figure out how we can all reach a commonality. Separate but equal is what Cole's new philosophy on our embracing of relationships. Separate but equal. And I want to let y'all all know that Cole's episode is probably going to be one of the most entertaining ones that we have to date, simply because it's perfect. Perfect. Male, female perspective on everything we need to talk about in society today. And I want to thank Cole for coming on to the show and giving us a good hour and a half of some good content. Cole, you telling people how to reach you, any social media links, any, upcoming business ventures, events, anything you got going on. You definitely got a new film coming out. We can definitely briefly talk about your new film that you just directed, Vivica Fox. Tell us about that.
It's a holiday film. It should be out this year, close to Thanksgiving. It's called Holiday Hideaway, starring Vivica Fox and Camille Wimbush from the Bernie Mac Show. Beautiful. It's a feel good movie. It's a very well written script by Sharon Berthwith, produced it by Lamise Williams, dear friend and producing friend. We did it anyway. We wanted certain things. We wanted to elevate the film industry, Black filmmaking, and give quality content instead of this buffooning stuff. Like we're looking to really reshape stuff and to continue greatness in the film industry and embark on something that has been lost and transition to that. So it's been a great journey, and I will say that my people out there mowing the lawn. But I'm excited. You know, the skincare line, all my stuff is at ColeSkincareForMen.com, Instagram at Cole Skincare for Men. Um, Reach me through business only. You know, as far as that, I don't have a personal Instagram or social media. I just feel like I'm too personable to have a personal social media, but I'm definitely open and transparent to anybody that wants to get in contact with me. DM me, that's what people are doing. Tweet me, or you can email me from my website. And I will say this too to conclude. Um, we don't have to insult each other to get our point across. I believe that people are looking at the Kevin Samuels, and I believe this transition thing that you're doing is phenomenal. I believe in you. I support you in every way that I can. Keep moving forward and addressing topics that help people grow and to get an understanding of more of what self is and to spread love. So I feel like just having that dialogue and starting that dialogue to really communicate effectively is a way to do it without insulting somebody or diminishing their character or their aesthetics.
Right.
I believe it's cruel, but you know, for everyone has its own. If that's what people like, people are addicted to trauma and abuse
Yep.
and you know suffering. So I don't believe in suffering. You know, my God didn't put me here to suffer. So that's just what I would leave with. I would end with that point, but it's been great. I'm excited. I would definitely we got some more things coming up too far as directing. I'm staying in it. The transition isn't easy. It's a little bit of me going you know easy to do where I can make money very quick, but I'm risking it all to
Right.
stay here. And with that being said, I know the universe is going to open up and just bless me abundantly and frequently. So
Y'all heard it here. Y'all heard it. You said holiday hideaway.
Holiday Hideaway. And the
Holiday
Instagram,
hideaway.
yeah, Instagram is Holiday Hideaway Movie 2021. So they could Instagram that or reach out to that. But that right there was amazing, Rashard. It was so good. Like to be my first feature, full length feature, and to have professional actors, not reality show stars, not hip hop artists, not we did it with experienced vets in the industry. Ella Joyce from The Rock, her husband Dan Martin, Leonard House from Barbershop.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, like Novi Brown from Sisters with Tyler Perry.
Yep.
Like this shit is amazing.
You did
And
it the
we're in
way you supposed to do it.
yes, and the discussions is we're doing a part two and a part three. So it's gonna be it's great. I'm at the point now, like I said, we talked about like I'm not even thinking about money. I'm just checking off the list of everything that I want to do.
Sounds good to
That's it.
me.
Yeah.
So everybody, y'all heard it here first. Holiday hideaways, Cole Skincare for Men. Now on the exit, I'm gonna say this because I've been using Cole Skincare for a long time. At least it's got to be 8 years now, 8 9 years now. And I had bad skin, and I'm telling you, they don't recognize me no more. They just say mm. Look at her skin. Mm. She's been doing Usher for almost 20 years. Mr. Usher Raymond. You see his skin. You see his. Hey, that's all we need to talk about is the fact that Cole Skincare for Men shapes the celebrities of today and keeps them on billboards. So if you're a man out there, you got skin problems, Cole COLE skincareformen.com. Grab you a bottle, grab you a package, and I'm promising you, you will love it. Check out again Holiday Hideaway movie on Instagram. Check it out, and I'm letting y'all know it's gonna be the best. It's gonna be the best one. So we got more podcast interviews coming soon. But we on the exit, Cole. Thank you again for your time and your patience and your amazing energy. And we are out here. This is the podcast called The Transition Man to God, and I'm your host, Rashad McCants. And till next time.
Adios. Salute.